Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, you'll meet the author of this best-selling book, Unforgettable Leadership. She's going to teach us all how to lead, learn, and live. That's next.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
Well, when I was growing up, the bosses said, it's my way or the highway. And that's the way life was. But these days, people don't want to be managed. They want to be mentored. And that creates a leadership crisis for many companies. They gotta get with the program. Somebody who knows that very well is Dr. Sherry Yellin. She's a speaker, coach, author, and my friend. Thank you for coming on the show.
Well, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Would you agree with me? Has it gotten more difficult to lead?
Great question. I think that in one way it may be more difficult to lead, especially if you're operating off of the mindset of the way you might have been led.
Yeah.
Right? That it's my way or the highway. There's one way and it's my way. But I think that if leaders today, to be more effective, there's actually, I would think it's actually easier. And the reason why is we tell the leaders that we work with a lot, be a little more lazy, stay a little more curious. And we live in a time where it's so important that we're as committed to being more interested than interesting.
Yes.
And so in a way, if you can adjust your beliefs and your actions and your mindset around leadership, you can actually get better results with a lot less effort.
Wow. Let's talk about your book, and I love the title. We're going to put it up full screen on the screen, Unforgettable Leadership. And it talks about 7 principles for leading, learning, and living. And we can't go through all 7, but give us 1 or 2.
I would love to. So the first one is, it spells the word cranium, and the first principle that I think is foundational to all of the 6 remaining principles is the principle of challenge. And the principle of challenge is basically saying that we want to create cultures of high trust, low threat. I think the number one problem that we at the Yellin Group get up every single day to try to solve is the problem of threat. Because threat is as debilitating to the brain as arthritis is to the body. It's debilitating in our ability to be creative and innovative, to plan, to have those executive functions, to articulate your thoughts, to have ideas, to think forward. And when you think about all of those results, those are all of the results that all of us want in our lives, especially in our companies, every single day. But what leaders don't recognize often is that threat shuts all of that down and makes it almost impossible to live out things like innovation and creativity and being proactive and thinking ahead and collaborating. Because a big part of the brain that is responsible for those functions is also responsible for our ability to see things from different perspectives. So if we minimize activity in the part of the brain, then through threat, right, then you're basically debilitating the brain's ability to be collaborative, to see from different perspectives.
What's another takeaway from the book?
Another takeaway for me that's so important is recognizing that emotions run the show. Emotions aren't touchy-feely, happy-clappy, something that's a nice to have when I get around to it, but rather emotion is absolutely critical to the brain's functioning at its highest level. Now, and it's recognizing that emotion can fuel the part of the brain, like I just mentioned, that is responsible for producing innovation and creativity. Emotion can also fuel threat. And that's even more debilitating, right? So it's just recognizing this critical role of emotion. It's so important that leaders especially are channeling that. If you're wanting to lead people through change, or if you are wanting to motivate people to take initiative or to create new ideas, how important emotion is in leading that effort.
Yes. She's an amazing speaker. We found her sizzle reel from a few years ago. It still holds up very well. You never age. Let's go ahead and roll that.
People want a place where they can grow and develop. They want to be challenged, and they want to be equipped to meet the challenge.
Here was really the vision behind this program. It was put together to create an elite leadership development experience.
We want to equip those high performers so that they can model these behaviors to those that they influence.
We wanted to incorporate coaching through this. Coaching is a phenomenal tool. It's basically meeting somebody where they are and helping them get to where they want to go.
So you have your high potentials modeling the behavior that you want to see, and that's how you shift a culture.
Grow the culture, grow those people around you. It's about developing other people. It's such an inside-out job. You get better so that you can influence those around you, to lead with impact and advance the missions.
The greatest piece of technology that comes in and out of that building every single day is this 3-pound universe that we carry around between our ears. And when we develop that and we work the way the brain works best, you get better results with less effort.
My background is in cognitive learning. We wanted content that was science-based. We've also integrated several different assessments. Those assessments are so powerful because you get to kind of benchmark how you see yourself against how others see you.
You move faster when you empower people. You get better results faster with fewer problems when you can have a culture where people are valued.
And right before the show, I asked you, what's one of your favorite coaching clients? And you told me a story. Would you share it?
I would love to. One of our clients, it was a situation, we don't get a lot of these calls, but it was a situation where it was a coach up or coach out kind of situation. And it was a typical situation where he had very strong technical skills, but people skills were the areas where he was struggling. And so coming into that, the most important thing was helping elevate his self-awareness. Self-awareness is one of those things that we think we all have, but few of us really do. And so in this area, his intention was not to come across a certain way, but people don't judge our communication based on our intention. They were judging him based on how it landed. And how it landed really was kind of like the Devil Wears Prada character. It was landed in the way that someone who left a trail of body bags in their path. And so the whole team was afraid of him. So in a situation like that, it's hard to get your team to commit.
Sure.
And so when you think about, promoting someone who's doing that, it's actually going counter to your company values.
Sure.
You're just perpetuating more threat. So in that situation, by doing some assessment work, doing a 360 assessment, doing some other assessment work, and some interviews with some of his colleagues, helped him realize that his delivery was not in alignment with his intention. Sure. And just by making some subtle changes, like listening a little bit longer, or involving people in decisions that impacted them, made a massive difference. And today, not only did he promote at that company, but ended up moving on to another one. And let's just say that life is much better for him today.
Wow.
As well as the people that work with him and
Sure.
under him. Because it's a divine calling when you have have a leadership title and you have the ability to influence people one way or another. And so for him to recognize the power of that was very rewarding for all of us as well.
Well, no, I think you also have the keys to a happy marriage in there too. I mean, listening, right, with empathy.
I'm not gonna lie, that does come up every now and then.
Awesome. Okay, we're going to pull up your website. It's a beautifully made website, and as we scroll down the website, I want you to talk about the kinds of clients that you love to work with. What is there a certain size company or a certain type of executive that you love to work with?
Typically, when we go in and work with leadership teams, company size is anywhere from maybe 40 to 50 million in revenue. But beyond that, what we really love to work with are people who already understand the importance of developing their people. We often say if we're explaining why it's important to develop your people, you're probably not our person.
Yes.
You're explaining, you're losing. And so it's just realizing people that understand that the results that they're looking for are only going to happen by developing people and investing in relationships.
Sure.
That relationships drive results. And, when I look at that list of clients, I'm just so honored to get to support so many of them. And one thing that stands out to me, at least, is that they're very different industries. But at the end of the day, this is what we're working with.
Yes.
And if you're working with people, there's some universal principles that if you put in place, you're going to get those better results with a lot less effort and avoid the unnecessary costs if you don't pay attention to those principles.
And I've seen study after study that says people don't quit companies, they quit bosses. And once somebody quits, I don't know if you agree with me on this, I think it creates an uncertainty in that division. And if people are saying, well, Sally just left, maybe I should take a look over the fence and see if the grass is a little greener. I mean, it can really snowball, can't it?
It really can. It is contagious. We're always influencing people. And just a reminder that influence and influenza come from the same word. And so just realizing we're always influencing. You have a culture. You have a culture by design or you have a culture by default. I would much rather have the culture by design.
Well, you're an amazing guest. We're almost out of time. So look into the camera on the left and final thoughts. What would you like to leave the viewer with?
Final thoughts to me is that if you, to be your absolute best and to bring out the best in your people and the best in your profits, that it's so important that we understand this piece of technology. And most people know more about their phones or their computers than they do about how the brain works. And what we now know, because we have better imaging and we have a great body of research behind us, let's put this information to practice because small changes really can produce big results.
Wow, I am so impressed with you. We're going to end with her website, which is SherryYellin.com. The great Dr. Sherry Yellin. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you.
You bet.
Appreciate it.
That's it for now. We'll see you next time.